lesson 5 in this first module. Here we're going to take a look at expectations, what you should and can expect when you run an AdWords campaign. Before we dive in though, quick recap. Last session we looked at why AdWords may or may not be right for every single business, and to make sure that your products and services are a good fit before you invest money in AdWords or before you continue investing. Now, there's another thing to say that goes along with that, and that's what we're going to do in this video, is that before you start spending or before you continue spending, you understand AdWords in the context of your business needs and what the expectations you can set are that are realistic. So let's walk through this. AdWords will not fix a broken business. And by that I mean, if you've got a big cash flow problem in your business, AdWords isn't going to fix that for you. If you're down to your last few dollars and you're gambling on, getting AdWords right out of the box, first time, cash flow positive, very, very quickly, you're probably going to struggle with that. That would be a really good outcome for any business, but is uncommon. If you don't have a great offer, let's say, for example, you're advertising a $2.49 offer and everybody else is advertising a $1.49 offer, then with the best will in the world, unless you can be super persuasive and explain to people why your $2.49 offer is so much more valuable than everybody else's $1.49, you're going to struggle. If your website or wherever you're taking your your AdWords traffic is badly designed, it isn't clear, it isn't engaging, it isn't compelling, then you're not going to have success. And if you have poor customer service, that also is going to be a problem. It never ceases to amaze me the number of times we hear customers and clients commenting on phone calls and the fact they haven't had good phone calls. And you listen into call recordings and you find two things. One, they have ignored many phone calls that have gone unanswered. And when they do answer them, they're rude or unhelpful or don't spot the opportunities to make a sale. If you're in that position where you really don't know how to handle a cold inquiry coming into you, there's no point running AdWords. So it will not fix these things. So let's talk about money specifically and the reality that you should set when you're understanding AdWords. Your budget needs to be appropriate for your market. And we'll go into the module 2 and 3, where we're looking at planning and we're looking at keywords and we're looking at budgets. If your budget is not appropriate for your market, let's say you have a $500 budget and you're in the legal market where there may be $50 clicks, then you are not going to see any meaningful outcome. All you're going to prove is that you can spend $500 on ads to buy 10 clicks, that you have no idea what the value of that to your business is. If your budget is not appropriate for the market that you're competing in, however big or small it might be, then you shouldn't be running AdWords because you're not going to get value out of it. Also, you need to understand the cash flow cycle. How long it takes for you to spend money buying ads to getting money from a customer. If you don't understand that cycle, even if AdWords is profitable for you, that cash flow may be too slow for you to run the campaign. So let's have a look at an example of that. So let's say day one, you've run some ads and you keep running, and on the 15th day you get an inquiry. Now Google typically take money out of your credit card on day 30, so you're paying for your ads. If obviously that's a debit card, that's going straight out of your account. On day 45, you might convert that inquiry into a client. And then you go out and you buy some materials and you buy some labour to provide the service to that particular client. And on day 60, you go out and do the job. Day 75, you get paid. So you've had 45 days where Google have your money and you don't have the client's money. You're at a cash flow negative situation on that particular client. Now, if that's typical on your business, you need to make sure that your cash flow can handle 45-day gaps between buying an ad and getting paid for it. It's perfectly acceptable for that to be the case. In some cases, you may get paid before you provide the service and before you pay for the ad, in which case, fantastic. But you need to understand the context in your business to make sure that whatever the cash flow implications are, you understand them and you can handle them in your regular cash flow, and it's not going to cause you a problem. The other thing we need to expect and understand is time. First thing to say is when you come to launch a campaign, allow a week to build it properly. You need to invest time planning and building properly to get that campaign set up right and ready to launch. And when you've done that, your first month essentially is baseline data. This is saying, what does my first test run look like? Here's some data to establish today, a baseline. And from there, depending on the size and the scale and the complexity of the campaign, you're looking at 3 to 6 months to get that optimized. You're looking at spending at least an hour a week, and in many cases more hours, to manage that campaign. You need to put the effort in and should expect to do so before you launch. If you haven't got that time in your business to do that, then either hire somebody who has, hire an agency, or don't do it. But do it going in. The worst thing you can do is start a campaign, 3 weeks later, go, oh, this isn't working. I've not got the result I wanted straight out of the gate. I'm stopping it. Or look back in 6 weeks and think, I really should make some updates to that campaign. I haven't touched it. Don't get into that trap. If you haven't got the time, hire somebody. If you haven't got the commitment, don't do it. But be clear why you're starting. And the other thing is, how quickly do you need a result? If you need an immediate win, there's a pretty good chance you're not going to get it. So understand what success looks like. In Module 2, we are going to spend a whole lot of time looking at what does good look like. We're going to quantify it, measure it, and define it. But for now, you need to be aware that from a results perspective, you need to understand what you want to achieve, how quickly you need it, and how you're going to measure it to know whether you're on track or not. Finally, Google. The one thing to say about Google is actually in that third bullet point. Expect consistent inconsistency. And what do I mean by that? First of all, expect changes to happen. AdWords makes over 250 changes a year to the platform. Some of them may impact your account, some may not. But expect and plan for time and effort and potential upside and potential downside as AdWords continues to evolve. You should also expect things like ads to suddenly be disapproved, landing pages to suddenly be disapproved. All those things can happen even on the best run campaigns. You will get things that happen, and it can be unpredictable, and the Google policy team can be particularly unhelpful at times. So when these things happen, which they will, there's a good chance at some point your account will be affected by something. Don't be surprised, don't panic. It's a step to work through, and the consistently inconsistent is how I can best describe Google. So, with all that said, just before we go any further, take a look at your business goals. Just think this through, and is the reality that you can expect with AdWords aligned with what your business needs? If it isn't, then find a way to align them before you proceed. Look at how you can change your cash flow cycle. Look at your existing web assets if you can change those. Look at how you can make your offer more competitive in the marketplace. Think about that before we go further. We're going to dive into that in detail in modules 2 and 3. So don't get too beaten up about it just now, but start that thought process off because it's a foundational step that everything else we do is built upon. Bye for now.